Welcome back to part 7 of the Toyota Hiace van conversion. By the end of the video, the vehicle will be looking a little bit like this. So if you're interested to know how that goes, stick around. And if you haven't seen any of the previous parts, please check them out. With this van build, we wanted to make sure that we had enough space in the back for a full-size double bed. So I tried to measure out the dimensions and I did the best job I could to make a full-size double. I didn't get any templates off the internet. I used my general knowledge and tried to put it together. In hindsight, that may not have been the best idea because, as you'll see, I used a hell of a lot of timber to make this bed come to life. It's definitely a sturdy, stable bed for sure, but it may be a little bit heavy for its purposes. I also had to work around a few difficulties which you might find when you're doing a van build yourself. You can see here, I wanted to bring the bed as far back in the van as possible so we'd have more room in the front, but what that meant is that I was losing space on either side of the van because of the curve of the back of the van. So what I decided to do after I'd made the frame was to cut the corner out and then try and put in an angled piece of timber that you can see here, and that allowed me to bring the bed as far back as I could but also stick it into the wall, so we were left with more space and more space we could work with. It's definitely not a conventional bed build, but when you're working in a camper van, sometimes you have to get a little bit creative. And you can see here in this video, with me cutting the bed on an angle, it allowed me to pull it back, have it up against the wall, and I probably gave myself that much more space, which again doesn't seem like a lot when you're making a van build, but that extra room there makes all of the difference, especially when you've put your kitchen in, you've put your cupboards in, and you've got everything else. When I checked that the bed was in the right place, I double checked, triple checked. The next part was to make sure it was secure to the floor. I was very lucky. A few people have asked in the comments why I didn't rip the floor up completely, or why I didn't insulate the floor or add any plywood. The truth is, you can see that the floor already had a plywood base. So when I've made the bed, for example, all I need to do is screw into the floor that's already there. So I'm not going into the metal of the van when I'm screwing the bed down. I'm just screwing into the timber that was already placed there by somebody else. And yeah, you have just had a little bit of a sneak peek of some of the other parts of the van build. For example, the pull-out drawer, some of the electrical system. This is something that I will be getting back to in the future. When I did this van build, I may not have done it like a lot of other people. I was kind of doing a little bit of one job, getting a bit bored, going on to a different job, then going back to another job. So it wasn't a completely perfect van build. To finish up the bed frame, the next part was to put the plywood base on top of the frame that we've made. So the plywood you buy in Australia in Bunnings is, I think, 2400 long, 2400 mils that is, and obviously a double bed is a lot shorter than that, so I had to measure out the length of the bed frame, and then this is the part where I cut the corner angle in that we talked about earlier, just so we could fit it flush up against the wall. And then from there, it was a case of using the drill to drill out these small holes, which are really important to stop mold and moisture buildup in your van build. When you put your mattress on top, when you're camping, it's hot, it's uncomfortable sometimes. You don't want your sweat and your moisture from your body to linger on the mattress and cause mold buildup. It has happened to me before. Yeah, definitely don't want it. So next part here, just a little change for the stereo. So this is a 2005 Toyota Hiace, so the stock stereo that we had just had a CD player. I don't even think it had a cable for an aux, so we couldn't listen to music. There was no Bluetooth on it, so we thought it would be super important. As you know, when you're traveling around the country, the music you listen to can make all of the difference. So we bought this Kenwood stereo here. I think it was a few $100s. It's got Bluetooth, it's got an aux cable you can plug in, it's got a nice radio, and yeah, it was definitely worth the investment. Nothing too crazy though. And the finishing touch for the van for us today was just spraying the wheel trim black. Some people might call this a little bit cheesy, some people might not like the look of it. I personally love it. It turned our little van into a sportsmobile. It definitely increased the maximum speed and 0 to 60 of this vehicle when we added this. And I thought it was a nice little touch to make it unique to us. If you enjoyed the video, please do not forget to subscribe, like the video, and catch you later for the next part.